Welcome to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. On this show, we use the Triggator philosophy to help you keep your budget balanced, build your savings and investments, and knock out debt with confidence. I know how it goes. You're set up with the perfect monthly budget. The numbers are dialed in, every expense accounted for, you're feeling in control, and then snap, you get bitten by a gator. Not a real one, hopefully, but this financial gator is just as fierce. Your Amazon Prime membership will renew on the 17th. Suddenly, that well-crafted plan gets derailed. You sigh, maybe throw your hands up into the air and say, "See, budgets don't work." And you're kind of right, monthly budgets don't work, but spending plans, they do. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that we don't do traditional budgets around here. We do spending plans that actually match how you live. These budget-busting gators are lurking just below the surface. The oil change, the annual subscription, the school fees, the dog's checkup. None of these are emergencies. They're predictable, inevitable expenses that don't hit every month, so they sneak up and take a bite out of your plan. And that's why we're talking about the Alligator Fund, a Triggator favorite. And honestly, one of the biggest secrets to your financial peace of mind. Think about it. When that Amazon email hits, how do you feel if you don't have the money already? Now imagine you do. The money's sitting there, waiting in your Alligator Fund. That's peace, that's control, and that's mastery. And to quote the great Steve Irwin, crocodiles, or in our case, alligators, are powerful animals that deserve our respect. And so are these expenses. They may not be emergencies, but they're powerful enough to derail your plan if you don't respect them. In this episode, I'll show you what the Alligator Fund is, how it's different from an emergency fund, real-life examples of when it saves the day, how to start one without overthinking it, and why this is the silver bullet for a stress-free spending plan. Let's keep your plan safe from financial sneak attacks and get the gator with the Triggator Alligator Fund. So what is the Alligator Fund? Let's start with the basics. What exactly is it? It's a dedicated savings pool for expenses that don't happen every month, but absolutely happen. They're not emergencies, they're not unpredictable. But if you don't prepare for them, they'll bite hard. And to make it easy to remember, think of the Alligator Fund as motor maintenance money for keeping your wheels turning, oil changes, tire rotations, inspections, a big bill buffer for the charges that hit once or twice per year, like insurance premiums, Amazon Prime, or Costco memberships, a seasonal savings stash for stuff that hits by season, not by month, like back to school supplies, holiday gifts, or summer sports fees. It's a household hero fund for those home expenses that lurk below the surface, filters, light bulbs, pest control, and gutter cleanings, for a few examples. Also, it's your once-a-year occasional fund for special calendar moments like birthdays, anniversaries, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Halloween, and all those, "oh yeah, I forgot that's this month," surprises. Here's the key. These expenses don't belong in your emergency fund because they aren't unexpected. And they don't fit neatly into your spending plan because they don't happen on a regular cycle. The Alligator Fund fills that gap. It's your off-budget tracker for real-life expenses with real teeth. At Triggator, we treat this as one of your core peace of mind funds. Along with your emergency fund and your savings goal fund, the Alligator Fund keeps you prepared for the known but irregular. It's like financial gator repellent. You might still get snapped at, but you won't get dragged under. In the next section, we'll break down how this is different from your emergency fund and why that distinction matters. So why is this not an emergency fund? You might be thinking, isn't this what my emergency fund is for? Great question, but the answer is nope. The Alligator Fund and emergency fund might look similar from the outside, but they serve completely different jobs in your financial system. Your emergency fund equals your financial fire extinguisher. Your emergency fund is there for things that are unexpected, urgent, and potentially life-altering. Things like a job loss, a major medical bill, a broken down furnace in the middle of winter, emergency travel for a funeral, or a tree falling on your roof. It's your break glass in case of emergency fund. The Alligator Fund equals your financial gator repellent. Now let's contrast the emergency fund with the Alligator Fund, which covers known, non-monthly, predictable expenses that don't just happen every month. Things like the annual Amazon Prime renewal, a back-to-school clothes haul, biannual car insurance, your anniversary dinner, or the dog's vaccinations. These are not emergencies, they're just sneaky and maybe even forgotten until they show up. And if you don't plan for them, they'll feel like emergencies, but they're not. They're gators. You really know that they were there in the water. You just didn't bring the repellent and got too close. So here's why this distinction matters. If you keep pulling from your emergency fund to cover expected expenses, you're slowly eroding your safety net. And you're not alone. Bankrate found in 2023 that 57% of Americans couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency, and many who do have savings said it's consistently drained by things that were completely predictable. That's like grabbing a fire extinguisher every time you burn toast. It works, but it's not what it was made for. As chaos theory expert Dr. Ian Malcolm said in Jurassic Park, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think on whether they should. That's exactly what happens when you dip into your emergency fund for a car registration or a gym renewal. You can, but should you? Probably not. Which is what the Alligator Fund is for, covering those gator bites so the emergency savings stays untouched and ready for the big stuff. If you keep dipping into that emergency fund for those known expenses, it'll never grow. It'll constantly be drained for things that should have been budgeted for, not rescued from. And that's how you end up with no cushion when a real emergency strikes. So think of it this way. Your emergency fund protects you from the unknown. The Alligator Fund protects you from what's already on the calendar, but hiding below the surface. They're both part of your financial safety net. They just catch different kinds of falls. Coming up next, I'll give you real-life examples on when the Alligator Fund steps in and saves the day. Real-life gator bite examples. Let's talk real life. Because the Alligator Fund isn't just a theory, it's a practical, powerful way to keep your finances calm when life tries to snap. Here's a few real-world gator bite experiences and examples. Example 1, the Thanksgiving sneak attack. I love Thanksgiving. Growing up, my grandma, aunt, and mother would team up to create a table that would make Better Homes and Gardens blush. The food, Gordon Ramsay would have hung up his chef's coat, and the family, it was straight out of a Norman Rockwell painting. When I got married, my wife and I decided to alternate Thanksgivings between our families. Our first one with her side was a bit different, more potluck style, a 3 o'clock start that shifted to 4 o'clock when the guests were delayed, and the seating spread across multiple rooms. It was lovely, just different. By our third Thanksgiving together, we decided to host, my chance to bring a little Tanner Thanksgiving flair to her family. And that's when I learned a Rockwell-style dinner comes with a big price tag. It gave me a whole new appreciation for the financial sacrifices my parents made to build those cherished memories. Now that I'm the one hosting more often, especially as my parents age, I plan ahead. I include Thanksgiving in my Alligator Fund every year because memories like these, they're worth it and they're not worth the stress. Example 2, the car that always knows when you're broke. Here's a secret. Your car will break down. It will need maintenance. It will eventually demand new tires. Last summer, we were on a road trip, and I'd parked a block away from the hotel. I'd walked over to grab the car to pick up my family. I turned the key, and I heard click. That was it. Yep, dead battery. But thanks to my Alligator Fund, I didn't panic. I replaced the battery and moved on with my day. No emergency fund dip, and no raiding the vacation fund, and no stress. Without the Alligator Fund, I wouldn't have just had a car problem, I'd have had a financial problem. And here's the thing, these always happen when your bank account is crying uncle. Like the philosopher Murphy once said, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. You know that you're going to have oil changes, you know that your tires are going to wear out. But without an Alligator Fund, it still feels like an emergency. With one, it's just another Tuesday. Example 3, the holidays you promised would be simpler this year. You told yourself you'd keep it low-key, but then there's gifts for the kids, A work party, Secret Santa at church, travel to grandma's, and matching pajamas because Instagram said so. Suddenly, you're pulling out the credit card just to keep up. But with a paycheck-based spending plan savings habit all nestled in your Alligator Fund, you'll enjoy the season and January doesn't feel like financial rehab. Example 4. The calendar strikes back. My mom is one of the great gift givers of our time. No birthday goes forgotten. And she has a long list. There's 6 children, 2 sons-in-law, 3 daughters-in-law, 23 grandchildren, 15 great-grandchildren, and of course, 1 husband. But back when she was using the traditional monthly budget, she'd say things like, "Wow, why is March always so tight?" Or, "Why is October so brutal?" Meanwhile, in April, money left over. Turns out the family didn't consult her budget when planning their children. Most birthdays landed in, you guessed it, March and October, and April, there's just 1. These weren't surprises, but she treated them like they were, and she paid the price. Now, she has an Alligator Fund, and March feels a lot more like April. Why these matter? What are the key takeaways? None of these are true emergencies, but without a plan, they sure felt like it. Your Alligator Fund makes these moments manageable, not meltdown worthy. You go from reacting to anticipating, and that's where the power is. Next up, I'll show you exactly how to build your Alligator Fund step by step without overcomplicating it. Okay, now that you're probably thinking of every gator that's ever taken a bite out of your spending plan, let's talk about how to stop it from happening again. Building your Alligator Fund doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to be a spreadsheet master or have a math degree. Just a plan that works with how you live and get paid. Step 1, identify your gators. Make a list of all the expenses that don't show up monthly but show up reliably. These might include annual memberships or subscriptions, car maintenance, back to school or holiday spending, insurance premiums if paid quarterly or annually, birthday gifts, anniversaries, seasonal expenses, pet care, travel, kid sports, or even once-a-year traditions. If it's not a surprise, but also not monthly, it's an alligator. And it goes on this list. Step 2, estimate the total annual cost. Once you've identified your alligators, estimate how much you spend on each one annually. Then add it all up for the year. Let's say your total cost comes to $5,200. That's what it's going to take to keep your gators well fed and out of your emergency fund. Step 3, break it down by paycheck. Now divide that annual total by your pay schedule. Paid monthly? Great. Divide it by 12 and add $434 to your Alligator Fund. Paid bi-weekly? No problem. Divide it by 26 and set aside about $200 per paycheck. Paid weekly? Excellent. Divide by 52 and add $100. The key is to match your savings rhythm to your pay schedule. That's the Triggator way. Your plan should move like your money moves. Step 4, open a separate savings account. This is a big one. You don't just mentally track it. That's like keeping soup in a shopping bag. It's gonna spill. Open a savings account specifically for your Alligator Fund. Bonus points if you nickname it something fun like Gator Defense Squad or No Surprises Here. Keep this fund separate from your emergency fund and your day-to-day checking. It makes it easier to protect and use with purpose. Step 5, automate it. The less you have to think about this, the better. Set up an automatic transfer on payday or have a portion of your direct deposit go straight into your Alligator Fund. Whether it's $25 or $200, the important thing is that it moves consistently. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. And every time that money moves over, that's another gator tamed. A quick mindset note. If you're thinking, there's no way I can set aside that much right now, that's okay. Start small. Even $10 or $20 a check adds up and it helps build the habit. Once you feel the peace that this fund brings, you'll make it a savings priority and you'll find ways to grow it. Every dollar you set aside in your Alligator Fund is a future, oh, thank goodness I planned for this moment. And those moments, they are golden. If you're a little like me and love to plan, I've got a deeper challenge for you. It takes a little bit of time and effort, but as Tom Hanks once said, well, technically it's his character in A League of Their Own, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great. Here's what you do. Log in to every place you spend money, checking accounts, credit cards, etc. Download 1 to 2 years worth of transactions. Sort by who you paid and delete everything that happens monthly or more often than monthly. This includes things like gas, groceries, your cell phone bill, all gone. This will leave you with the gators like your car registration, quarterly oil changes, annual donations, and even random things you forgot. It's like clearing the swamp. You'll see the water clearly. You'll get a true sense of how much these gators eat and which ones need feeding. And while you're there, you might spot some gators that need removing. That subscription you don't use, that service you forgot you signed up for, that category you tend to overspend on. Now you're not just reacting, you're in control. In the next and final part of this episode, we'll wrap it all up, give you a challenge, and take action. We're also going to tease about what's coming up in our next episode. All right, let's wrap this gator wrangling session up. We've covered what the Alligator Fund is, why it's different from emergency funds, how it saves the day in real life, and how to build one without overwhelm. Now it's your turn to take action. Your challenge is to start taming the gators. I want you to make a list of well-known but not monthly expenses. Pick one to start savings for. Open a separate account, even if you only transfer $10 to get started. And then the bonus, give it a fun name. You know I love a good Gator Defense Squad moment. Remember, this fund is your first line of defense against the sneak alligators that derail your plan. Not because they're surprises, but because they're predictable and still easy to forget. But once you've planned for them, the stress disappears, the control returns, and you go from chaos to calm. If this episode gave you some peace, perspective, or a plan, I'd love to hear about it. Send me an email to podcast@Triggator.com. Share your list of gators, a win, or even just a name that you gave your alligator fund. And while you're at it, follow or subscribe to this podcast. Leave a review. Seriously, it means a lot and helps others find the show. Also, share this episode with a friend, your spouse, or anyone who's ever said, "Why is this month so tight?" We're all in this together. Let's tame the gators one paycheck at a time. In the next episode, we're talking about emotional spending, why we do it, how it happens, and how to stop the cycle. It's called Breaking the Impulse Cycle, How to Curb Emotional Spending. And we'll dive into what triggers those I need it now moments like stress, boredom, or even celebration. Tools to help you pause like the 24-hour rule and friction techniques. And a super simple challenge to create your own cool down list of impulse buys. If you've ever filled the cart just to feel better or hit buy now before your brain caught up, this is one you won't want to miss. Until next time, plan ahead, feed the gators, and master your money one spending plan at a time. This is Nate Tanner, and you've been listening to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living.